Elite Runner fans. The King of Elite Runners, Elite Godston, is here for part 6 of the 100 weapons tier list of Pixel Gun 3D. I apologize for inconvenience about all the other stuff I did, but I'm here for part 6 of the Pixel Gun 3D 100 weapons tier list from my perspective only. So, without further ado, let's begin with number 501, the semi-auto shotgun. This one, it can be possible for cat spam, but it may have some delays in it. It is decent for casual players, but sometimes, with shotguns in general for me, when it comes to these things, semi-auto, it's really fun because it's similar to another weapon, which I'll not say yet until I actually reach that point. But this one, it's really fun, but it's just like rapid fire, which I can show you some examples right now anyway. You can kind of see it's like really like semi-auto, and sometimes it will have like a little bit of a delay. But it's just like not my liking. I do like shotguns in general for cat spams, but this stuff in general is going to be a no-go for this. So I would say it's decent for casual players, but it is possible for cat spams if you want to do that stuff anyways. The Stinger 3000. This one's really fun, but the only downside is its manual guidance. So you have to like really maneuver it around and around to actually get the actual hit in. But a better method you can also do is just like if a player is coming at you, you can just fire it immediately and just be a lot more better. For this one, I would say it would be possible for cat spams, but I'm not sure about its delay thing and whatnot, but I'd rather not just go through my loadout anyway and just test it out. But you guys can probably leave me in the comment section anyway for some of these, because most of the weapons may be cat spammable, but the ones I do not even test out with anyway. But the Stinger 3000, it is decent for casual players at moderate levels, but the actual issue about it is it's a manual guidance. Same thing as for the Stinger as well too, which is from my previous 100 tier list, which is the, I think it's like part 1 or part 2, I'm not sure which. But you can kind of tell like it's really like just manual guidance and whatnot, but this one I would say is probably like decent for casual players at moderate level, and sometimes it's possible for one hit if you're like max player whatnot at level 65. Airstrike laptop, I would say is decent for moderate players, but for folks that are max level, I never even seen anyone use this before, ever since the Battle Pass was first introduced in the Operation Snow Battle Pass, but I never seen anyone use it. Because the only issue about that is that it's a charge shot, but it has like an airstrike and whatnot. That's why it's called an airstrike laptop. It is so difficult and whatnot, because you have to like hold on to your charge shot and just like wait for the enemy to be close in range, and then you can start firing immediately. So for this one, I would say is decent, but not good for cat spams, and I've never seen anyone use this, so probably not a good idea to recommend to use this weapon in your loadout. Deadly Digital System. This one I did get from a Trader's Van, from the Community Trader's Van vans some years ago. I did actually get this from the Trader's Van, but not the actual Black Friday one, but like special like holiday ones. But the actual downside of it is that this was just like infinite ammo usage anyway, so you just keep on firing whatever you like. But it had a few nerfs in it. But the actual downside of it is that now it takes ammo usage. And this one was a one-hit kill, like with infinite damage. Like, not infinite damage, like infinite ammo usage. Like, you could use it. It's like similar like a melee, but the actual downside of it has ammo usage now, and had a few nerfs. But I would say it's pretty decent for casual players and whatnot, but with a few nerfs, I'm not seeing anyone use this, so you can still get it if you like, but like I said, it's the ammo usage and whatnot. The Night Hunter. I believe this one is no, it's another weapon. The Future Rifle. That one was the most rare weapon you can get for a common and whatnot. But the Night Hunter itself, it's pretty good and whatnot for casual players, but it is not cat spammable, unfortunately. It can be pretty good for moderates, and I believe when you reach to a higher level, like for folks who are like level 50 and above, I've never seen most folks use automatics, but if they still want to use automatics, they can go right ahead. But like for low levels, people would just go for like the beginner ones and whatnot. But I believe for Night Hunter itself, from my perspective, would be good for moderate level people, like between the range of 25 to 50. My only perspective, but when the people reach level 50 and above, they're going to go for even better automatics. And this one itself, because with silent and whatnot, it's really hard to hear for its fire rate as well too, for when you're actually shooting it, and for the enemy if they can actually hear it or not because of the silencer included. This one I'd probably say in general will be moderate for casual players itself. The Special Ops pistol, this one itself, it is possible for cat spams, but you have to be like very lucky at it to swap over to your weapon in general. This one itself, I actually did not get this from the Battle Pass itself, but I did actually get it from the Trader's Van when one of the Christmas seasons where it showed like some Trader's Van options anyway. This really good and whatnot. I would probably say for casual players and whatnot, if they want to use this, I believe I do see bots use it as well too. But for this one, I'll probably say would be moderate. I've never seen folks use it for cat spams, but sometimes you could get very rare to see people use this weapon anyway, in general. The Tactical Knife. This one you can actually get from the Elite Tier challenge from the Battle Pass itself. I believe it was the very first introduction, I believe, for the Battle Pass. The Tactical Knife itself, it's really fun. I think I did actually get this weapon before. I could be wrong, but I think I got it from the Trader's Van. I'm not sure which. Like, most of these weapons I got from like Trader's Vans, lotteries, and so on and so forth. I believe I did actually get this from the Black Friday one as well, but I'm not totally 100% sure about it. Because I did get the Black Friday skin from it. And the third skin you actually get is from the Burning Tactical Knife skin. The actual downside is that you actually have to get this skin on Steam to actually purchase it, including with the other variety as well too. That's a big downside, but this one I would probably say is decent for casual players. Sometimes possible for cat spams because I do see a few folks use this. Not a whole lot, but just a few folks using it. Hand minigun. This one is a machine gun in general, like with the automatic Peacemaker and whatnot. It's really fun to use. You just have to like really like be very lucky on your hits. And I do believe from the updates themselves from the developers, I could be totally wrong, but I do recall that they did some playtests with this, including with other weapons as well too, like shotguns and automatic weapons and other stuff in general, including like lasers as well too. The fire rate of it and also the damage per second counts for like any number of hits you take as well too from the any weapon you choose from. But this one I will say is pretty good for casual players, like for moderates. Sometimes possible for high level people, like level 50 or above. But never seen most people use this except for bots in general. But it's really fun to use in general. I would say it's decent, not good for cat spams. Heavy sniper rifle. Oh boy. This one, I've seen people use it every single time, especially when it was first introduced. There's also other weapons as well too for snipers besides heavy sniper rifle. There is another one of its cousin, but I'm not going to say it yet because it's not even close to that time frame for that. Because I had to do more parts of this stuff anyway. Heavy Sniper Rifle in general is like a one hit on the body and one hit to the head. It was very like OP, but it did have a few slight nerfs, a few updates back, but it's still good for cat spams in general. But I've never seen people just do spams of this like immediately, like just rage other people as well too, like just quit the game, like rage quit, and just play a different match that don't have heavy sniper rifle. Sorry. Heavy sniper rifle in general for me, it's like my worst nightmare, especially for ultimatum. But the actual downside of it is that I do see most people use it because I never got this weapon before in the battle pass. Because like I told you before about my ultimatum story, I never got most of these weapons because most of my phones I used during my school year of middle school and high school, they kept tending to lag and start to crash every time I'm still playing a game, especially when I play other games because I've been playing like older devices. The heavy sniper rifle is like the best sniper rifle in the game for like most beginners, for folks who are still learning cat spams in general. It's an OG weapon, and not sure about for decents because most people can use it for decents, but it'll just be more like trolling and whatnot. So heavy sniper rifle, good for casual players and also good for cat spams, and it's an OG weapon, really fun to use. So you can also get this for 500 coupons if you like, because it's a legendary item. Armadillo. This one is really fun because it is good for uh, decent weapon for casual players in general. But the actual downside is that it's only like one ammo usage and to reload it. And it is possible for cat spams, but you have to like be very lucky on the draw anyway. Like you have to get out of there and just reload your weapon, and then you can just continue forward. It's the same thing as the Apocalypse and Armageddon, but the Armageddon itself, it was like 4 ammo usage, while Armadillo and Apocalypse takes like 1 ammo usage per reload anyway, so that's a big downside. But it is possible for cat spams anyway, so it's pretty good. I'll probably say maybe for an OG because of its cat spams, and the actual biggest thing is its cluster as well too. So it's pretty fun to use anyway. Police Zapper. This one, it is possible for cat spams because I've been using this multiple times for any type of legendary weapons I use. It's sometimes 2 shots, and sometimes as well too possible, but there is no headshots included because of its area effect. It's really difficult, but to actually use this, you have to be very lucky because with its shots when you're about to swap over to other weapons for cat spams. And for a good idea for examples for cat spams for specials, if you don't have poison darts or Necklace of the Ice King in general, you can go for Police Zapper anyway, and I tend to save this as for a legendary weapon anyway because of its big challenge of win 3 matches in a row with legendary weapons only, no pets, no gadgets included. This one I will say is decent for casual players, for moderates, sometimes higher levels as well too for folks that are above 50 and above. And I'd still say this for legendary, but if you guys have it at mythical, it'd still be better anyway, because sometimes it'll be maybe still 1 to 2 hits, but just be very lucky on it. But Police Zapper in general, I'm still keeping it legendary because of its elite tier challenge of the win 3 matches in a row with legendary weapons only. So it's pretty decent for casual players and good for cat spams, and it's an OG weapon for me in general. The Temple Guardian. This one, because I will say is decent. I do see bots use it, but the actual downside is that is it the? Oh, I didn't know. So for the Temple Guardian itself, it is not possible for cat spams because it has a little bit of delay. But it can be if you want to be very lucky on it as well too. But like I said, it has a big delay. And sometimes it's also a good ricochet weapon as well too because of its looping shot, and sometimes will be a contact detonator in general if it just stay right there in its spot. And you can still keep on firing if you like. Temple Guardian itself, I never used this weapon before, but I did actually get it. But the actual time I actually use it, if it's during like a Chinese New Year event, like Oriental season or like the Oriental Lottery and whatnot, or the Dynasty Pi Lottery, which is the same thing as the Oriental season as well too. I never seen a whole lot of folks use this except for bots in general, but I would say decent for moderate players, but I never seen folks use it that often anyway at higher difficulty like 50 or above for folks that are like almost being max level and whatnot. And it is possible for cat spams, but it is not because of delay in general. Healing Carp, this one is really fun because of its area damage and also of its life steal, but the actual downside is not cat spammable, and I would recommend it for decent casual players, whatnot, for moderates and sometimes maybe low beginners as well too if they want to keep on grinding as well too. So like low levels from the start all the way over to level 25. So from like start at level 1 to level 25 will be the low level folks. For moderates will be 25 to 50, and then max level people would be higher ones like level 50 and above. So for Healing Carp, I would say would be recommended for casual players of low levelers or moderate levelers as well too. Really fun to use. I just don't touch it that often anyway. Like I said, for the Temple Guardian, it's part of the Oriental season for like Chinese New Year events, which I sometimes still use for weapons of anyway. But it's really fun to use because of its lifesteal. Moon Halberd. This one itself, I do see bots use this that often anyway, but the actual downside is that it is not possible for cat spams because of its delay. Like, it receives and gives delay when you're about to swap over to your next weapon in general. But the good side about it is that it has a pretty good range in general. Like, with its weapon type anyway, because it'll still be a good weapon to use. Not sure about its area damage, but it's really fun. But the actual downside is not good for cat spams. But not sure about for Knife Party in general, but if I do see people use this, I would recommend it for low-level beginners for casual players if they want to keep grinding more in Knife Party in general. But it's really fun to use. Magic Musket, Runestone, Bone Knife. Those three in general are part of a special event, which you cannot use these anymore because it's part of a special event. There's a similarity as the other ones you can use. So like Bone Knife is like Combat Knife. Runestone, it's the same similarity sound effect as Portable Death Moon, but it may be possible for cat spams, but we don't ever get a chance to use these, including Magic Musket. It's similar as a shotgun. These three in general are really good and all, but we don't even get a chance to use them because they're only here for a limited time for special events, so it's a bummer for that. My apologies, folks. I'm sorry if I'm coughing too much because I'm still trying to clear away from the whole massive cold I've been getting, but I've been still taking a whole lot of stuff. Moving along then, which is Flaming Skull. This one, it is possible because I do see a few folks use this weapon anyway, but only for low-level beginners. Never seen a whole lot of bots use them that often, but I would say it's decent, but it's not possible for cap spams because of its flamethrower ability. It has a very slow reload time as well too, so I would not recommend it for folks that are using this anyway, but if they want to keep it as a collection, they can. You can actually get this for 50 coupons because it's a rare weapon to get. So this one I would say is not possible for cat spams. It is decent for low-level players, but I would not recommend it for any folks that want to use it, except if they want to keep as a collection like me. Forest Sniper Bow. This one, it is possible for cat spams, but the actual downside of it is it will take a few hits because of its rarity in general. Sometimes you just have to like get your aim in right, and it does have a scope included. It's the same similarity as when you go into Magic Valley, the elves use these bows anyway. But the actual downside is that it does not have a scope included for the enemies to use as well too, like the elves, for example. Like I said, I will say it is possible for cat spams and would be an OG weapon to use. But for casual players in general, I would say it will probably be low-level players. Sometimes moderates, but I would say low-level players use them so they can find better weapons for snipers in general. Agent Valentine. You can actually get this from the Valentine's Traders event, the Valentine Traders Van event, when Valentine does hit by whatnot. It is pretty good, but it's not possible for cat spams. But it is decent for casual players, I would say for moderates. Sometimes maybe for higher level people as well too, if they want to use it for like Valentine's Day event in general, when it does actually hit. But it's really fun to use. The actual biggest thing is its charming effect, which decreases the enemy's damage and whatnot. Same thing as the weakening, but the weakening is way more better than charm anyway. So I would say Agent Valentine, it is not good for cat spams because it's automatic weapon, but it is decent for casual players in general. So it's really fun to use. The Lovebirds. These ones is really good and recommended for cat spams in general. Really good ammo usage and decent reload time. The best thing about it is its random effect for its duration. Like sometimes it'll just shoot out burning, poison, bleeding, so on and so forth. But the actual downside is that it does not have slowness on it, so it's still a pretty good weapon to use in general. You can actually still get this from the Traders Van of the Valentine's Day event when it actually does hit. Sometimes it's possible to get it from like other weapons in general, but for Lovebirds, I would say is good for cat spams and it's an OG weapon to use. And it's also decent for casual players, I would say, for moderates. Sometimes maybe for low levels, but I would say for moderates or higher level players as well too. The Serenade. This one would be possible for cat spams. It's the same thing as Agent Valentine because of its charming effect. It's like 2 hits for the head, sometimes 3 for the body, but it's really fun to use sometimes, but it is maybe a little bit of a delay when you swap over to a weapon in general and move back to the melee. But it's really fun to use anyway because of its charming effect, because of the Serenade. So I would say it's good for cat spams and would say it's for moderate level players for casuals. Heartbreakers. These guys would be possible for cat spams because it's 2 to 3 hits on the enemy for a death and has the charming effect. But the actual downside is that it just wastes a whole lot of ammo because you'll be just going around and trying to just like aim constantly to try to get the enemy hit in general, especially when trying to move around. So I would say it's good for cat spams for moderate people, including for decent weapon to use for casual players like moderates and low-level beginners, but there's going to be more other weapons included for the special category and whatnot. And it may also be a good substitute for Necklace of the Ice King and Poison Darts. If neither of you guys don't have it, you can use Heartbreakers as well too. Or, like I said, also as well for the Police Sapper as well. I'm really going to forget this name. I'm going to mispronounce the name anyway, so Suskubus. I'm sorry if I pronounced that name wrong, but it's really hard for me to understand that name anyway. But this sniper rifle is really good. 1 to 2 hits on the body and 1 hit on the head. It has a charming effect, same thing as for the other ones, because most of the Valentine's Day weapons have like the charm effect. It is good for cat spams, and it's also, I would say, decent for casual players, for moderates and high level players. Really fun to use, but you have to like really like aim directly at it and whatnot, because it's like really like OP a little bit. But I believe it did have a few nerfs. But I would say it's good cat spam. It's an OG weapon, and it is decent for casual players, for moderates, and high-level players. Moving up to number 526 is 10 o'clock Postman. This one, it is possible for cat spams. It is decent for casual players, for moderates, sometimes for high-level players. And it's a really good weapon to use because of its area damage, the charming, and some other weapons as well too. And it has a pretty good reload time as well. And the actual downside of it, the actual downside is that you can actually only get this from the Trader's Van event. There's no other option to actually get this weapon anyway in general, so you had to wait until the actual Trader's Van of the Valentine's Day weapons for most of these weapons in general to actually get these. Including the actual other one, which I'm not sure the name of it. Well, I do have the name of it, but I'm not sure where it actually is located for the time being. Let me move back over here and see real quick. I can actually show you right now anyway and see what I'm talking to you guys about anyway. Oh, it is. So, Last Kiss right here. You actually get this from the Trader's Van event. Same thing for the Dater Hater, but I believe you can actually get this from the clan. No. I think it is possible for the clan weapons, but I believe it's the Vampire Hunter that actually has that. But Last Kiss, you actually get this from the Trader's Van event anyway. Same thing would apply with the other ones, like the Age of Valentine, Lovebirds, Serenade, Heartbreakers, Suskubus, and 10 o'clock Postman. Moving right along, Harpy. This one's really fun to use. It has a very good area damage, and it has a lifesteal. But the actual downside of it is the range of it, because you have to like be very good at your range to actually fire it. Because if you're just like too far away, you're not going to get the actual hit in, like we saw right here, for example. It is good for cat spams. I would say it's decent for casual players, for moderates, and sometimes maybe for high-level people. But the downside is that the area damage itself is like pretty short. So you have to like be very lucky on your hits. And it does have a very good fast reload time as well. When you have the Cape of Intelligence, it's like 0.5 seconds, like reload time so fast. So it's really fun to use. So for Harpy, I would say it's an OG weapon for cat spams. Really good for cat spams. Decent for casual players, for moderates, and sometimes for high-level players. Runic Hammer. This one itself has a charge shot, but the actual downside is it's not possible for cat spams. I could be totally wrong. I do apologize. If people are going to say, like, oh, Runic Hammer is possible for cat spams, you just have to be very lucky on the charge shot. I do apologize for that. I never touched this weapon before, but I did actually get this from the, I believe it's from the lottery or from either the store for the Mercenary choice and the Hero choice. But the actual downside is that for charge shots, they did revamp some weapons that do have charge shot abilities, because you have to fully charge it up instead of just, like, going for, like, just a few hits. And so I would say it is decent for casual players, for moderates. I do see a few folks sometimes use this for high-level players, like level 50 and above. But it is really fun to use for a knife party, for melee weapons only. But I've never seen a whole lot of folks use this, because I do see a few folks using just like Jet Tenderizer in general. The Mithril Rifle. This one, I never seen a whole lot of folks use. It's a laser weapon for automatic, for a primary weapon. But its downside is that it's not a good weapon to use anyway. I never touched this weapon before. It's just not good for my liking for any type of automatic laser primaries because, like I said, I go for shotgun types for cat spams. But this one itself, I would still recommend it for casual players, for moderates, and maybe for low-level players as well too. Never seen a whole lot of folks use this for high-level people, but I would just say it's decent for casual players, for moderates, and low-level players. Sometimes maybe for high-level players, but I would just like see it for low levels and moderates in general. The Aran Bite. This one, it is good for cat spams because of its fast fire rate and good attack speed. With this poison effect, it's really fun to use. I did actually use this for the Halloween time event one. The actual downside is that it'll take a few shots in, like 2 to 3 hits to the body and whatnot, but I would still recommend it for casual players, and it's an OG weapon to use for cat spams. For casual players, I would say it would be for moderates, like from range of level 25 to level 50 for moderates. It's a really fun weapon to use, and you can also use this for Halloween time because it has a spider on it, including a cobweb. So, OG weapon for cat spams, decent for casual players, for moderates, and low-level players, sometimes for high-level players as well too. The Medusa. This is like the very first heavy weapon with a minigun attribute. The actual downside is that it is not a good weapon choice to use anyway. You can actually get this weapon bought from the actual armory itself when you go into the I believe not the sets, but like no, not the events. Whatever the name is, you guys will probably help me figure that out anyway. But the Medusa itself, it is not possible for cat spams. I would recommend it for casual players if they don't have any type of minigun weapons. The heavy weapon will be a good choice to use, but it's gonna be so annoying because it's in the heavy category instead of the primary category because of its miniguns varieties. But I would not recommend it for any folks that are about to use this weapon anyway. It's just really annoying to use and whatnot for any folks that are using it, but I would still recommend it for folks, for low-level players anyway. Not for moderates, not for high-level players, but it's just... no. These three, I'm glad to skip right here because it's another part of a YouTuber set, which I'm not going to say anyway, but this one I would say is just... all three of these are not possible, except for this one right here would be possible for a cat spam, but all three of these not possible for cat spams. Decent for casual players, for moderates and whatnot. But yeah, moving along, we have the Enchanted Blades. These guys themselves would be possible for cat spams, but the actual downside is its travel time and it's starting to actually fire the attack and whatnot. But it's really fun to use because of its bleeding effect. You can actually use this for casual players in general, but for this one I'll probably say for moderates. I did see one person or 1 or 2 people use this weapon before. It's really fun to use. I believe you can also use it for the Oriental season as well too because it just looks like ninja blades in general, like just for fun. So Enchanted Blades, it would be possible for cat spams and would be an OG weapon. Decent for casual players, for moderates. Never seen a whole lot of folks use this for high level players, but it would be possible for low levels. The Alchemist Staff. This one in general is really fun, but the actual downside is its looping shots, and it would be amazing, but I'm not sure about free cat spams in general, but the good thing about it, it's pretty good area damage, and it also has a pretty good duration time as well too. If you actually just hit it close to the enemy for the projectile, it would be like almost like dead instantly, like in one hit. But with this area damage, it's pretty good. Area damage is great, but you have to be like very like like locked on. Like you guys just lock onto the target or just be like in range of where the actual area effect will be at for the alchemist staff. I would say it is possible for cat spams unless it has a delay, like a very big bad delay, then I will not recommend it. But I would recommend it for casual players for moderates. So it would be really fun to use. So alchemist staff, I would say it is an okay weapon to use. System admin. Oops. System admin. I would say this one right here, I've never seen a whole lot of folks use this, but I would say it would be a decent weapon for casual players, for moderates. Its biggest concern is the area damage because it's like super short. But all favor in that, but I mean, all in all, it's just a really fun weapon. Its damage per second is really fun. It's pretty good average as well too, but the system admin, it is not a good weapon to use for max level players. You can still get this weapon anyway, but I believe it's only like a one-time use. I mean, not like one-time use, it's like a one ticket to actually get this from the Traders van, and if you don't got that from the Traders van, then you're going to have to wait until it shows up in the lottery event anyway, so it's really difficult as well too to get them. But I believe it's also the first introduction as well too for the World 4 campaign as well too for the these weapons as well too for the system admin, the flash drive, disconnector, network streamer, antivirus, and big data. All those weapons right there in general will be a pretty decent weapon to use for casual players. But the actual OG weapon would be the antivirus because it's a cat spam weapon and it is a very good weapon to use because of its X-ray vision, laser, and ricochet. It can be like a one-hit kill on the head and possible for a one hit on the body as well too, but it will probably take 2 hits in general. So all those 6 weapons right there will be from the Traders van. You actually get it from the I believe it's the network Traders van, but it's only like a one-time purchase to get those weapons anyway. But it's not possible to get them back unless if they show up in the lottery. Moving right along is the Cyclops Sling. This one I do see a few bots using anyway, but not a whole lot of folks using this type of weapon anyway. It is possible for cat spams, but the actual downside is with its looping shot and it's also its ricochet. You just have to be very lucky on the hit, because if you see a whole lot of players moving around, you have to like wait perfectly and just aim at the right time. If you see a player moving, you have to just like follow their movement track as well too. So I would say it is possible for cat spams, and it is decent for casual players for maybe low level people in general. Moving right along is the Rainbow Dispenser. This one itself is really fun, but you can actually get this from the St. Patrick's Time Traders Van event, but the actual downside is it only shows in the Traders Van event, but you actually get this from the lottery. But it has a pretty good reload time. The biggest concern all about for me in general is that it's an automatic weapon and it is not possible for cat spams. So Rainbow Dispenser, I would say, is decent for casual players, for moderates, but it's not a cat spammable weapon anyway to use, so would say it's for moderate level people and for low level players as well. Rainbow Destroyer. You can actually get this weapon for its skin. I do believe it was from the I forgot the name of the season, but it has one where it had like your skin option for the altered Rainbow Destroyer skin, which is possible for the actual St. Patrick's Day event skin as well too for the St. Patrick's Day Traders van. For this special weapon in general, it's a laser weapon. It is not possible for cat spams, but I would recommend it for casual players, for moderates and low level players to use this weapon anyway. Mr. L. In case you're wondering, for the L means Mr. Leprechaun. This one in general, it is good for cat spams, but you have to be very lucky on the draw anyway. If you set it to mythical, it'll be a pretty good weapon to use, so I would say it's an OG weapon and good for cat spams. Decent for casual players in general, but I would say for moderate and low level players in general. Never seen a whole lot of folks use this in the high level category because they recommend only use this for like the St. Patrick's Day event one. And the fourth weapon I do recall is called the Spender. This one is possible to get it, but it's really hard to get it because you won't even see this weapon in the armory because you only had to get it from either the trader's van itself or from the lottery. It's really hard to get those. Moving right along is the Adamant Claws, which is the superhero season event. They look like Wolverine claws a little bit. Well, not a little bit, but a whole lot. Its actual downside is that its damage is not that good because it'll take like 3 hits to the head and like 4 to 5 hits for the body. But its best thing about it has lifesteal and good bleeding attribute as well too. So I would say for this one, it's pretty decent for casual players for moderates, but I would not recommend it for cat spams in general. Hypersound Uzi. This one is really fun to use. Its downside is that it's like pretty not good to use because of its reload time in general. I just never touched this weapon before a whole lot, except for the part that does have like the lightning bolt symbol and whatnot. But like, in case you didn't know, like I'm a fan of electricity and whatnot. Well, not technically a fan of electricity, like other stuff like in real life, but any type of weapon I do see with like electricity powers, it just feels like I'm like Darth Sidious from Star Wars and whatnot. But Hypersound Uzi in general, it's pretty decent for casual players, for moderates and low level players, but I would not recommend it for high level players like level 50 and above. But Hypersound Uzi, this one, probably not a good idea to use for cat spams in general. Double Gum, I never seen a lot of folks use this weapon, but its area damage is good, but it's only like 2 hits. And its downside is that it's not possible for cat spams in general. Unless if it is, I do apologize. Most of these weapons, like I said, I never touched them before, and I never even looked at them through anyway for to see if they're possible for cat spams or whatnot, if they do give out delays. But I do believe for this one, it does give out delays, so I'll probably not recommend it for casuals. I can't speak right because I talk too fast. I would not recommend it for cat spams, but I would recommend it for casual players, for low-level players only, not for moderates or high-level players. The Black Hole. This one, it is fun to use, but its downside is its area damage is so like small, but it is like 1 hit to the body and 1 hit to the head because of its area damage effect. And the best thing about it is that it disables gadgets, like gadget usage, gadget usage for enemy players as well too. So that way they don't have a chance to use their gadgets, because there's a whole lot of gadgets I do see a few folks using anyway. It will be so annoying. So for Black Hole, I would recommend it for casual players, for moderates, and high-level players. It's an OG weapon and good for cat spams. Protector of Peace. This one is not a good weapon to use because of its slow charge-up speed, but its biggest thing is that when it does fully charge up, it's just like 1 hit only to the body and to the head. I would not recommend it for cat spams or for casual players in general, unless for low-level players only, if they want to use it. But Protector of Peace, no-go for this one. Portalus Wrath. This one, I do see a few folks use it because of its ricochet weapon, because it just like bounces around. I would say it is good for casual players, but it's not good for cat spams in general. So for this one right here for casual players, I would recommend it for all categories for low levels, moderates, and high level players. And you can also use this for Silent School as well too because of its ricochet effect. Chipping Whip. This one right here, I just only see bots use it, but I've never seen a whole lot of players use this. Its fire rate is really fast, but its biggest downside is that it does have like a damage sphere or whatnot, but it's like very tiny. But its area damage is like so like small and whatnot in general, because you have to really like just target the enemy like on contact. So I would not recommend it for cat spammable players, but casuals for low levels and moderates. The Portalium Rifle. This one is like the OG weapon of all time, because if you have the full set, it will reduce the wall damage effect. It will just take like one hit only to any type of wall break weapon when you go through the walls. So this one right here, I would recommend for OG weapon for cat spams. There's gonna be not a whole lot of folks use this weapon anyway because there's better sniper weapons. But casual players themselves, I would say for moderates and high level players in general. And for folks that just got it for low level, congratulations. And it's like really like super rare to actually get this weapon anyway, if you do actually see it from the special event in general. We're about halfway there until we reach to number 600, and then I will call it off right here. Number 559, the Nuclear Rifle. This one, for the test run of this weapon, I would not recommend it for cat spam players, but I would recommend it for casuals for low-level players because of its semi-auto attribute. But it does have a good poison effect, but its biggest downside is its semi-auto, because it'll just take like 2 hits and then just like go again and then again and then again and again and again and again. So I would not recommend it for cat spam players, but I would recommend it for low-level players for casuals in general. Deadly Umbrella, I would just only see a few players use it, but not a whole lot. But I only seen bots use it anyway because of its flamethrower. I would not recommend it for cat spams or for casual players, except for low-level players. Big Bang Revolver. This one in general, it is good for cat spams, but you have to use a specific type of loadout for cat spams if you want to use this weapon, because sometimes if you just swap over to your shotgun, like for example the Ultimatum, it will have a delay in general. It has a pretty good reload time, its area damage is really good, and I would still recommend it for casual players, for moderates, and low-level players in general. I've never seen a whole lot of folks use this for high-level players, but they recommend only just like the best weapon loadout for the high-level players in general. So Big Bang Revolver, it is possible for cat spams, super possible, decent for casual players for low-level and moderates. But if you're going to use cat spam for this, you need to find a specific type of shotgun included for it. Like right here, for example, the Acid Shotgun. Its reload time is really fun, but its downside is that it only takes 4 ammo usage. And it does have a very good poison duration as well too, like with its bullets. And speaking of bullets anyway, I can actually tell you guys right now about what you mean by the shotgun rework, because I do believe there was a playtest of it. It only depends on its actual like bullets. So like if you got super close to the enemy right here, it just actually just detects it as just could be like a numerous like 1 hit. So like you had to like be very very good with your aim to actually get the shots in for the actual enemy itself. But in general, I would recommend this for cat spams. It's an OG weapon. Not seeing a whole lot of not seeing a whole lot of spammers use this type of weapon before because it's a pretty good reload speed, and its downside is that it's like a 4 ammo usage anyway. So I would recommend it for cat spammable players. I'm not sure about for casuals in general. If it's going to be for casuals, I would recommend it for low level players only. Possible for high level players and moderates as well too. The Battlehawk. This one, I would say it would be good for cat spams, but it would just give you a little bit of a delay, so I would probably say no on this one. Its damage is not that good because it's only like 2 to 3 hits, but I would recommend it for casual players, for low-level players only, because it's the same thing as for the Tactical Tomahawk. The Combat Gauntlet. Most people will still use this because it feels like it's like Thanos' gauntlet in general, but the Combat Gauntlet in general, I would say, is possible for cat spams, but its downside, it's 2 to 3 hits to the body, and for the headshots, no headshot included, but it will be 2 to 3 hits for the body and the head in general because of its area damage effect. And its area damage effect is really, really good. And it has a pretty good 10 ammo usage, but I've never seen a whole lot of players use this, so I would recommend it for OG players, for cat spams, and for casual players and beginners, for low level and moderates. Never seen a whole lot of folks use this at the high level category. Spider Sense. This one is really, really, really annoying. I'm not sure about this weapon in general, but when it comes to that type of weapon, it is not good to use, because I have my modules set for this one as for the recoil and the stability, but its biggest concern is the way it was aimed, because like you cannot even actually aim directly at the enemy. Like, it just fires like somewhere else. So its biggest downside of it is that I would never recommend it for cat spams or recommend it for casual players. But once it actually did get refixed for its actual stability and whatnot, then it'll be really fun to use. But its biggest concern is that you can actually still use it for the scope, because it'll just aim directly at the same spot, like going straight. But if you just fire it, it just like misses the shot entirely. Like, it just goes like somewhere else in general. So I would never recommend this for cat spams, but if you want to use this for sniper forts in general, you're going to have to use a scope. I would say recommend for low level players only. The Werewolf. This one is possible for cat spams. 2 to 3 hits to the body, 2 hits to the head. Pretty good ammo usage for 13. Not much to say about it, but it's really fun weapon to use. I never even touch this weapon except for only like Halloween time events, and I still only use this for the legendary challenge for the elite tier. Sharp Flame. I never seen a whole lot of folks use this except for bots in general for like Knife Party. It's really fun to use. It's 2 hits to the head, 3 hits to the body, possible. But it's just a melee weapon and whatnot because of its burning effect, and I do believe it said like armor bonus. And for the armor bonus itself, you just gain a little bit more armor in general for it. So I would recommend it for casual players, and it would be possible for cat spams as well too. Charge Injector. This one is not a good weapon to use for cat spams because of its area damage. It only takes like 3 hits anyway, or sometimes 4 because of its small area damage in general. Because it'll take like 6 or 7 hits anyway, in case you see what I just did right there anyway, for example. So I now recommend it for casual players. I gotta stop saying casuals and cat spams because I'm saying like the same thing in general. I would not recommend it for cat spams, but I would recommend it for casuals for low level players only. So Charge Injector, no for cat spams, yes for casuals for low level players only. Garbage Rifle. This one is really good because of its ability as well too, because I do recall it does have armor bonus, and it is also good for cat spams. It'll just take 2 hits to the head, impossible. It would be a 1 hit to the head if you have it set to mythical, but I do only have it set to legendary because of its legendary challenge, like I said, for the elite tier. Win 3 matches in a row with legendary weapons only. So Garbage Rifle, yes for cat spams, yes for casual players. I would recommend it for moderates and high level players if they want to keep doing a whole lot of spamming weapons for swapping weapons for cat spams. The Firefighter. This one's really fun to use because it's a fast damage per second fire rate, and its burning time as well too is really fun to use. It is not cat spammable, but it is good for casual players, for moderates, and sometimes for high level players as well too. And it also is really good for Battle Royale as well too. So it's really fun. Huge Boy. Oh boy. This one is really like only like 1 hit to the body and sometimes 1 hit to the head, but it's a really biggest concern is that it's only 1 ammo usage. It's like the same similarity like I told you about the Apocalypse and the Stinger 3000. This one right here for the Huge Boy is like 1 hit everything, but its downside, like I said, it's just like 1 ammo usage and you have to like reload every single time. And I do believe it may be possible for cat spams. So you have to like be very lucky at it. And if it is cat spammable, just FYI, it does have a looping shot, so be very mindful about it. Fatal Melter. This one is not good for cat spams, and I would recommend it for low-level players. I do see a whole lot of bots use it, but the actual downside is that it's travel time, but it does have very good area damage, and it also leaves like a poison cloud as well too. So it's really like fun to use, but like I said, it is a downside of a delay for a cat spam weapon, but it is good for casuals, I would say, for low level players. I do see a whole lot of bots use it anyway. The Dual Anger. This one is good for cat spams because of its lifesteal and a pretty good ammo usage as well too. And I would recommend it for casual players, for moderates and high level players. But for low level players, if they do actually have this weapon, then you're very lucky as well too, because we are really happy that you have this weapon. So happy. So Dual Anger, it is super fun to use with its lifesteal. Good for cat spams. OG weapon to use. Casuals for moderates and high level players. And super lucky as well too for low level players as well too once they got this weapon. The Brutal Thinner, it is not possible for cat spams because of its travel time and the actual downside it has a delay and whatnot when you're about to move over to a weapon. Brutal Thinner itself, its reload is not that good, but it has a travel time, but it is possible because it's just like 1 hit to anything in general. But Brutal Thinner, not good for cat spams. I would recommend it for casuals, for moderates, and low-level players only. The Liquidator X1. Previously, there was actual name of it, but I do believe they had to change the name because it was called Z1 for the Z Squad, but they had to change the name due to obvious reasons. So now we have to call it Z1 for now on. Which I'm not sure why. I'm still have to look up online anyway and see like why they changed the actual name from Z to X to be more precise anyway. But this one right here is good for cat spams. It's an OG weapon. the downside is its reload time, but it has a good ammo usage for 10 and whatnot, and it is possible for cat spams if you just be moving from weapons as fast as possible. The Eliminator X2, it's a primary. It is not possible for cat spams, but it is a pretty good fire rate, and I would recommend it for casual players, for moderates, and for high-level players. But for low-level players that they do actually have this, you're amazing, and super lucky as well, too. Pursuer, this one I would not recommend for cat spams, and I would recommend it for casual players, for moderates, and low-level players only. High-level players, they would notice as well, too, because it's not a good weapon, because it's a semi-auto, and it will be possible for a one-hit, but it's really difficult because the players will still move around, especially when doing team fight matches. So no for cat spam, yes for casual players, for low-level players, and moderates. The very first weapon introduced when Pixel Gun was very first introduced into the App Store, the Pixel Gun. This was the very older model way back in 2013. Its biggest concern is that you cannot put modules on this because there is a better Pixel Gun weapon for this anyway, which is the very first one. But this one right here is the older version of the Pixel Gun weapon in general. You can still get this weapon anyway, but it's for the very first arena battle as well too, of the older version of the game. So this one we cannot use anymore except for the arena battle. Not the actual arena battle I'm talking about, but the older version of the arena battle. The Block Rifle. This one's really good for cat spams, and it is possible for a one-hit headshot, but it will be sometimes two because of a little bit of nerf. Its ammo usage is really fun, because it's 15. Its biggest concern is that its reload. It's pretty okay, but it takes a while to reload unless you have the Cape of Intelligence like I have on. It's just really fun to use, and it's a wall break weapon, so you'll get very lucky for any type of cat spam weapons you're using. If people are hiding behind the wall, then you'll know it's a wall break weapon. The Block Shotgun. Oh boy. This one, it's a semi-auto, but it's not possible for cat spams, but I would recommend it for casual players of low players only, because it's really fun to use, but its biggest concern is that for moderates and high-level players, they're not going to use this weapon anyway because it's a semi-auto, and they want to use it for cat spams, and they can't. So it's not fun to use anyway. Same thing for the Block Flamethrower, because I would still recommend this for low-level players, not for moderates or high-level players, because it's a flamethrower attribute. Never seen a whole lot of folks use this weapon anyway because of its flamethrower. And I do see a whole lot of bots use it, but they use like other weapons in general as well too. We're almost there. Plastic Rifle. This one has an area damage effect. It's really fun to use, but its biggest concern about the area damage is that it's super small and it's like really difficult to get. Its damage per second is like really fun, but if you just get to the head with its area damage, it's pretty good to use, but I would just only recommend it for casual players, but not for cat spam players, because it's an automatic weapon and it cannot be cat spammable, unfortunately. The Plastic Bazooka. This one has a delay as well too, but it will be possible for cat spams in general, but I just only see it for casual players to use this weapon anyway because of its cluster bombs. The biggest downside about it is that it has 3 ammo usage, and it has a very big delay as well too when trying to swap over to another weapon if you're trying to use this for cat spams. Not a good weapon to use, but I would recommend it for casual players of low-level players and moderates. High-level players will still use it because they just want to be fun and want to rage quit the player because they just want to keep on spamming heavy weapons and whatnot. So Plastic Bazooka, I would recommend it for casual players, but not for cat spams because of its delay. The Plastic Carbine. This one is possible for cat spams, and its area damage is really fun, and sometimes you guys just get to a one hit to the body and one hit to the head because of its area damage in general. Its ammo usage is really decent for 8. You can actually reload a lot faster with the Cape of Intelligence if you do have that on. And you can also be very quick about it as well too. I actually use this weapon as well too for like during my live streams of Pixelgun 3D for the Plastic Carbine. But I never I only use this weapon a whole lot because of its area damage and whatnot, just to get a whole lot more, because the only type of category of weapons I use for cat spams is special, sniper, and heavy, and sometimes primary and backup in general. So Plastic Carbine I would recommend for casual players, for low and moderate and sometimes high level players. And it is an OG weapon and good for cat spams. The Cloud Launcher. It does have a delay, but it is not possible for cat spams. But it does leave like a... It's like a contact detonator mine. But the best thing about it is that it does have a pretty good ammo usage. But its downside is that it's a reload time. So I would not recommend it for cat spam players. I would recommend it for casual players, for low level players only. And sometimes maybe for moderates. But low level players only for the best. The Pulling Sucker Gun. I do see a whole lot of folks use this weapon anyway because they want to do either a 3 cat spam, a 4 cat spam, or a 5 cat spam, or sometimes a 2 cat spam in general. Its downside about it is that there's been a whole lot of folks using this weapon anyway because it will take like 2 ammo usage and whatnot, but there was actual glitch in the system where like if you just fire on the ground, it would just fling you up in the air. But they did have to revamp that because it was an actual patch. But if you want to just keep on firing through, you just got to just be in very good distance to just keep on firing where you're trying to do anyway. And I'm not good at pulling weapons or dash weapons in general, so just FYI on that one. But this one I would not recommend unless if you want to. I do believe it is possible for cat spams if they want to just do like a 4 cat spam or a 3 cat spam and they just not use the backup. They just want to use the backup for just like moving around places in general, just like, oh, I want to go over here. Well, yep, I'm going to go over here. You'll see a whole lot of folks use that in the classic pool match, aka the backrooms level as well too. So this one I would recommend for cat spam players because they're really good at this and they're pros at it. But for casuals, they're just going to keep on going through the same way. So I would not recommend it for casual players because they're just going to keep on playing with it and just hit the enemy entirely. The Witch Doctor. This one would be possible for cat spams because it can be super helpful for teammates healing. And it's also super good for raids as well too, like for clan raids and minigame raids in general. If your teammates are low on health, then you can just fire them at your allies and just be super helpful. I would say recommend for casual players, for low level players and moderates. Never seen a whole lot of high level players use it, but it is good for cat spams. Portal Cannon. I've never seen a whole lot of folks use this weapon before because there's a whole lot of other weapons for teleportations. Because all you have to do with it anyway is just keep on firing anyway and see what happens. But we can't use the teleportation anyway because we were in the training ground. But I've never seen a whole lot of folks use this. I would recommend for casual players at low level, but it is not possible for cat spams because of its charge shot. Healing Staff. This one is really good to use. It's super helpful for your allies as well too in clan raids and minigame raids. But it's also really annoying to use in Knife Party in general because of its big area damage effect. But it did have a few nerfs at the time, but I did believe it did get a little bit of a buff because there's not a whole lot of players use this weapon anyway. So this one I would recommend for casual players at low level, but it's just going to be more annoying anyway because they're just going to use that knife party. And it is good and recommended for clan raids and minigame raids as well too for your allies if they're low on health. To be like a doctor in general. We are almost there. Laser ray rifle. It would be possible for a cat spam, but it's like semi-auto, but I would never recommend this for cat spam players, but I would recommend for casuals. Its reload is so slow, but I would still probably recommend for casuals, only for like low level players. Because they want to find like something else for like moderate and high level players in general. The Clockwork Cannon in general, from my perspective, I would say is pretty good. It is like a ricochet weapon, but its biggest concern... Nice. Its biggest downside concern is that its reload is like a little bit average, which is pretty good, but it's only like 1 to 2 hit kills. I'm not sure if it is possible for cat spams, but I would recommend it for casual players at low level players only. The Transformed Blaster, this one is not possible for cat spams because it does just give you a delay. Its actual downside is that it's not a ricochet weapon like the other weapons you get as well too, like the laser bouncer or the reflector. But its biggest concern is that it has a gadget block as well too, but it's a pretty good ammo usage for 12, but the actual downside is not good for cat spams, but I would recommend it for low-level players or moderates as well too. For high-level players, they can swap it out for something else as well too. But its reload time is so bad. The Transformed Machine Gun, this one right here, it shoots in 3 directions. If you're super close to it, you can just kill them in like in 1 second, but if you just stay far back, you only get like 1 hit only at the time. It'll take you like 3 seconds. I would not recommend it for cat spam players, but I would recommend it for casuals at low level and moderates, not for high level players in general, because they have other weapons they can use for shooting in 3 directions as well too. So Transform Machine Gun, no for cat spams, yes for casuals, for moderate and low level players only. The Witch's Sheep Cauldron, there's been a few folks use this, but its biggest downside is that it's a charge shot and it only turns people into sheep, and it's really annoying because of its travel time. I would never recommend this for cat spams because it has a very big bad delay, and I would never recommend this for casual players in general. But I still probably recommend it anyway, but only for like low level players only. Like from start level 1 to level 25. So I would never recommend this, unfortunately. But its ammo usage is good, but it's as like a charge shot. The Combat Darts, this weapon right here, I was still being annoyed by because I never got this, but I did actually get this from the Christmas season, from like one of the special like Happy Holidays chest. I do see a whole lot of bots use it, but I've never seen a whole lot of folks use this weapon anyway, because they have other weapons they found as well too that's good for cat spams. And this one is not good for a cat spam because it just gives you a delay in general. But I would recommend it for casual players at low level players only, and maybe a little bit moderate, but mainly just for low level players. The Throwing Spear, this one would be possible for cat spams, unless if it gives you a delay, then it's not good. It does not give you an area damage effect, so you cannot hit like these 2 over here or something. You actually have to hit the enemy on contact. But its biggest approval is the ammo usage, because you can just keep on throwing it whatever you like. But its biggest concern is that it has a looping shot, so you have to like be very like precise on your aim anyway. And it would be possible as well too to get like 1 hit to the body if it has like a long duration effect anyway. And it is like 1 hit to the head. So throwing spear, possible for cat spams. I would recommend for casual players at low level and moderate. Finally is the Aloha Boom Boom. This one in general, it's a pretty good damage per second fire rate. Its reload time is pretty good. It does not have area damage, so that's the biggest downside of it. But it is super fun to use and whatnot for low-level players and moderates for casuals. But it is not good for cat spams, unfortunately, because it's an automatic weapon. And that will conclude part 6 of the Pixel Gun 3D 100 tier list from start of number 501 to 600. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Part 7 will possibly be out soon. I'm not sure when though, because like I said, I've been busy with other stuff because of work and family emergencies in general. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye. Lightning Strike.